CG Leaders, Pastor Matt.
What's up?
And I here. And we wanted to talk about our reentry plan. We've had some conversations last week. Loved the feedback. It was a good time just to hear from you. And it meant a lot to us to have your thoughts, your ideas, to make sure that this is a time where we can flourish and you as CG leaders can remain healthy and also resourced. And so let's talk about our reentry plan. First off, this is going to go to you tonight, Thursday night. Tomorrow, there's a video that's going to go out to the whole church talking about our reentry. We just wanted to include you in the process before it went out to everyone. So our reentry plan, based on prep and equipment that we need to buy and those things as we talked about last week, here's what we're going to do. It's going to be a 3-phase, right? Everything's about phases. So phase 1, we are going to be continuing our recorded services and starting CG at-home living room launch parties. We want that to begin this Sunday, so June 7th. And for the next several weeks, we'll just do that. Get used to being together again. Get used to being in the living room. Getting used to those who are just coming out of shelter in place, willing to meet again. So just like a small on-ramp. All of that while we wait for our equipment to show up and we do some training and get some teams together for our live stream, which we want to begin in 3 weeks if everything comes together. In 3 weeks' time, we'll start rotating a CG through our building. And we'll get kind of experience to being back in the building together. We'll have live presence on Sunday morning. Everything will be live streamed. And we'll start practicing for the Great Return, which will be phase 3. Which is we're going to open the building. That's going to happen when we can meet again at 100 plus. Some of the limitations and the experience gets better, along with us able to have LS kids. So that'll be phase 3, and that might be early fall. So maybe end of August, early September. We just have no idea based on recommendations. But that's what we're waiting for. And you might remember all that conversation that we had about the experience in the building can be better than the experience at home. So right now, we're really excited about you being able to lead Livingstone Sparks churches in your living room or backyard or at a park or wherever you want to have that happen with the guidelines, however you want to. It's all up to you, at what your comfort level kind of a thing. So we do have some ideas and some help and resources for you to be able to lead those CG churches in your living room. And Matt's going to talk through those things.
Yeah, so as community group leaders, as we're talking about these watch parties in your homes, you guys are basically becoming like church planners almost in your own home. And you're going to have many little churches in your homes. And so we want you to think through what you do on a Sunday morning, just like we would think through what we do on a Sunday morning here in the building. It's just on a much smaller scale. We talk about it being a watch party, but we need to be prepared as hosts, as people who are going to be inviting people into our home. We want to make sure that we got the house clean, that we're ready for guests to show up. One of the things that we've been talking about is if people just show up right at 10 o'clock, you're not going to be able to start watching the service right at 10 o'clock. And so we would encourage you guys to maybe start your little watch party at 9:30, just so that way everybody can come together. You guys can have some coffee together. You guys can talk, because we know that we're all in need of community right now. We all want to talk to one another and see each other face to face. And so you're going to have to provide time for that. And so we want to just have you guys be prepared for that it's not going to just be a show up and watch this, but as people, we're excited to get together with one another. And so we want to encourage you guys to start early, that you guys would be prepared, that we'd have things like coffee, things like snacks, making sure that we're just hospitable to the people. I mean, we have a hospitality ministry in our church so that people feel welcome when they come in, and we want to make sure that when they come into your home that they're feeling the same exact way. As the leaders of your community group, you're like the worship leader, pastor of your small church that's going to be meeting in your house. And so, as the leaders, we would just encourage you guys, as you worship, the people in your group are going to worship. As you set that example, the people in your group are going to follow that example. So make sure that you're there, that you got pants on, that you've got your Bible, that you've got things ready, that when it's time to start praying, that you're actually praying, that you're singing along with the worship, because it can just be like watching a concert and not like a church experience. And that's not what we want this to be. We want this to be like church in your home. And so we want you to be gathering together, singing with one another, praying with one another, greeting one another during that time of greeting. that when it's time for communion, that you guys have opportunity to have communion with one another and share the Lord's Supper together, because those are just all just great parts of us coming together. And that's really what we're trying to achieve, is what we have here at the church, but on a much smaller level. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing starting in 2 weeks is that Ellis Kids is going to be going live during the sermon time of our service. And so one of the things that Ashley is asking for is that there would be an Ellis Kids liaison for each group. So if you have a group of kids gathered around a computer, that you have some adult watching them. And so think of it kind of like how you rotate through childcare in your community group. You know, it doesn't have to be the same person every week, but if you've been on a Zoom meeting, you know that people just want to have fun with the backgrounds, and kids really just want to have fun with the backgrounds, and there's lots of things that can distract kids. And so if we want our kids to be engaging in the gospel just as much as we want the adults to be engaging in the gospel, we need to make sure that we have adults there helping out with the kids, not just actually on the other end of the computer trying to manage them. And so think through what is that going to look like? How are you going to rotate people through in that? And then we just want to make sure that this is not something that's becoming a burden to you guys. And so as community groups, it might be that you're talking to other families about hosting on Sunday mornings, or as a group, maybe one day a week is all you guys can do. And so talk with your groups. Is it going to be a Sunday morning thing? Is it going to be a midweek thing? You know, a lot of us, we take a break from community group during the summertime. We like to just have fellowship, maybe go to the park and play, do those kind of things. You guys can still do those things. We want to encourage you guys to get together as much as you can, but we also don't want you guys to burn out in the midst of this. And so talk to each other. Let's share this burden with one another. And so if you have people in your group that might be willing to host on Sunday mornings, and you can host on whatever night that you meet, or vice versa, go for it. But if you're the only person that's willing to open up your home, we don't want you guys to be stretched to the point where like this is just more than you can handle. And so we want to make sure that you guys are being cared for in the midst of this. And so please, like, reach out to us if you have questions. Reach out to your group for help in making this happen, because we want this to be something that not only you guys can, as a group, can come together and experience community with one another, but things that we can start inviting people into. Because again, you know, God has called us to be on mission in the city, that we're disciples making disciples. And so we want to use this time where church looks a little bit different, but we can still be inviting people into our homes to be a part of these church services, and we're making disciples that way.
Yeah, and we do. We really care that you're healthy as a leader, and so we want to support you. And the first way we're going to do that is in 2 weeks. We want to get together with you, connect with you. We'll have a meeting on Zoom probably, and just get your feedback. How's it going? What's the experience? What do we need to be mindful of? How can we help you? What kind of resources do you need? What do we need to build and put together to make sure that you're not burning out? The big idea is put your pants on, have a lot of fun, and be in community with one another. Greg, we're talking to you personally. But just be flexible. Just enjoy the time. There's not a lot that we want to demand of you. We just get together, enjoy the service together, minister to people, be in relationship as a re-entry back into full-time in the building Sunday morning services. So really thankful that you're serving in the place you're serving. The only other thing I would add is just be mindful of the people in your group. Like, there are people that don't want to re-engage right now. There are people that are still, don't feel that it's prudent that we gather together in groups, and, be accommodating to them, still love them, care for them during this season, and provide opportunities. If there's some people that still want to do things digitally, let's try and engage with them as much as we possibly can. So that way we're shepherding this whole church, not just a portion of the church. Yeah. Super thankful. Let us know if you have questions and we can help you further. And we'll see you in just a couple of weeks. Take good notes. Let us know how it's going. All right, thanks. See you.